Welcome to the Missouri Liberty Alliance. I hope you're having a good day today, by the way. Today is Thursday, June 17th, 2021. Where has the time gone? Okay, gang, got a great story for you. The federal government is already firing shots across Missouri's bow for all things Second Amendment because of the Second Amendment Preservation Act. Before I get started here, and I'm going to talk quickly and go quickly because I want to make it a shorter video, but we will do a bigger discussion on this in the very near future in our Discord group, which I will let you know about very soon. So this is the Justice Department. Missouri governor can't void federal gun laws. We didn't void federal gun laws. They're still there, gang. Trust me. So let me read parts of this, and then we'll get on to a bigger part of this. The Justice Department is warning Missouri officials that the state can't ignore federal law. Well, technically, that's what we're doing. Voiding the law, no. After the governor signed the bill last week that bans police from enforcing federal gun rules. In a letter sent on Wednesday night and obtained by the Associated Press, justice officials said that the U.S. Constitution's Supremacy Clause, we'll talk about that in just a second here, outweighs the measure that Governor Mark Parson signed into law Saturday. The new rule penalized local police departments if their officers enforce federal gun laws. So let's go into a little bit more of the meat here, and we'll get into Supremacy Clause right after that. So, let's see. Attorney General Brian Boynton, forgive me if I'm pronouncing the name wrong, said the law threatens to disrupt the working relationship between federal and local authorities. Once again, that's the same excuse we saw from the sheriff's guys. They said in the letter noting that Missouri receives federal grants and technical assistance. That's a veiled threat. Hey, we're going to take away your funding if you don't do what we say. And then the following quote, which I love, should make a t-shirt out of it. The public safety of the people of the United States and the citizens of Missouri is paramount, Boynton wrote in a letter. Well, my goodness, I think it was Benjamin Franklin who kind of warned us about that. Let's go to Supremacy Clause. Let's talk about this for a second. The Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and the treaties made, of which shall be made under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land. And the judges in every state shall be bound thereby. Anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding. That's the Supremacy Clause from the United States Constitution. So let's go a little bit further here. And by the way, we'll get back to Supremacy Clause as we visit the Second Amendment. Remembering what Benjamin Franklin said about those who would give up their liberty for security. So the Second Amendment says as follows, well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed except in cases of emergency. You guys got me. That last part doesn't actually exist in the Second Amendment except in cases of emergency. But it seems like the government believes that it does. The federal government believes they can infringe your rights if they say, there's too many AR-15s or AK-47s. There's just too many guns out there. People are misusing guns. So therefore, it's a case, where we have an emergency. We have to take away your rights, or we have to start infringing upon your rights. Well, Benjamin Franklin, of course, warned us about that. So it's something we should all keep in mind at all times. Now let's go to the response, which is brand new and just came out, hot off the press. And I want to say thank you very much to Liberty, you know who you are, who's been helping me with sourcing these articles on Twitter. Also to Ron Calzone, by the way. Missouri Governor, Attorney General returned fire back at Biden's DOJ over federal overreach on Second Amendment rights. So let's see what he has to say. Missouri Governor Mike Parson and State Attorney General Eric Schmitt fired back on Thursday after the Department of Justice sent a warning to the state over Parson's recent bill said he protects residents' Second Amendment rights. So here's a quote. Missouri is not attempting to nullify federal law. That is absolutely correct, by the way. Federal law is federal law, right? Parsons and Schmitt wrote in a letter to Acting Assistant Attorney General Brian Boynton, sorry if I'm mispronouncing the name, mispronouncing it, of the DOJ Civil Division. Instead, Missouri is defending its people from federal government overreach by prohibiting state and local law enforcement agencies from being used by the federal government to infringe on Missourians' right to keep and bear arms. This is why Supremacy Clause, right over here, 10th Amendment Center. This is why Supremacy Clause does not apply here, because it's anti-commandeering doctrine. This has been held up in courts for almost 200 years. There's a long history of anti-commandeering clause being used to prevent the federal government from engaging in overreach in the states, individually. So I'd like to give a shout out to the 10th Amendment Center and Michael Bolden. Michael Bolden has been a tremendous resource to me and other people that I know. And I would like to, and in fact, I recently, very recently, about an hour ago, made a phone call asking for permission to use his video. I have not received permission yet, and therefore, out of respect for Michael and his organization, I won't use the video, but I am going to link their channel down below, as well as the 10th Amendment Center, which is the organization that he is part of there. In fact, I think he runs it. So, guys, this is what it comes down to now at this point. The federal government is saying we can't do it. The governor, and by the way, federal government is relative here. I shouldn't say that. The Department of Justice at the U.S. Government is saying we can't do it. Well, our Attorney General and our governor are saying we can, and we have actually precedents through not only the Supremacy Clause to justify our actions through anti-commandeering doctrine to actually get this done and make it stick and have the courts back it up. So for those of you seeing in the mainstream media that we can't do this, we can't do the Second Amendment Preservation Act, we've heard the Democrats in the Missouri legislature saying it'll never hold up in court, so go ahead and let it through anyway because it's totally illegal. They clearly do not understand the anti-commandeering doctrine. And also Supremacy Clause, which I am brushing up on the federal government. I'm familiar with Missouri's Supremacy Clause, but that's very different. So that is your update for today. And I will be having a before we actually open up the Discord, I'm going to be having a chat with a couple of members in the Discord group, and we're going to cover this even further. We're going to delve into literally the nuts and bolts and gears of what we're dealing with here in the state of Missouri and why the Second Amendment Preservation Act will be upheld by the courts. This was very carefully thought out, gang. Eric Burleson and Jared Taylor are not shooting from the hip here. This was very, very carefully crafted legislation, the Second Amendment Preservation Act, and it will hold up in court. I know that there's naysayers out there saying that we will end up bowing to the federal government on this because they're already threatening to take away, basically not threatening, veiled threats, suggestions, inferences that they may take away federal grants and technical assistance. But at the same time, that the federal grants and technical assistance technically were never constitutional to begin with. So I'm going to end there, gang. Thank you very much for taking a few minutes out of your day to watch our first video on our flagship channel. I will be making a bunch of changes here real soon, including the environment in which I do videos in for this channel. And I thank you for sticking with us, coming over from Truth, Money, and Freedom, so we can keep the Missouri stuff in a Missouri channel. You guys all have a wonderful day. May God bless you all. Take care, gang.